All right, welcome back to Morning Prime. I don't know whether that was a break long enough for us to grab a cup of tea, but if you have, thank you very much, because you'll need that energy. Now, our panel is here, very heavy. You guys look like twins, man. You know, there's just a certain resemblance.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Fred Ogola, and also we have Mr. Paul Dalizo here, who's a governance expert, and he sits as director of an organization called Jitambua Initiative. Gentlemen, it's a wonderful morning to be looking this sharp. Daktari, you know, you are the one who's a regular here.
Yes.
And we always appreciate the regulars. Yes. So I think you should welcome me to your show, you know. I'm just a visitor today.
No, you are a very experienced person, really.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we listen to you a lot.
Yeah.
People like to listen to how you make the conversation become insightful. Yeah, you know, the right question begins with the right answer begins with the right question.
Exactly.
And the question you ask determines the quality of the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Just like KCPE, if the wrong questions are asked, the quality of the answers depends on the quality of the questions asked.
You know the issue of KCPE, and we're going to come to that. We thought we'll finish with a bang, like the last one.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we wrap it up very nicely, tie a knot to it, and then let that ship sail. But apparently we've not been able to do that. We come into that. Mr. Paul, first time for you to do this kind of thing?
Yeah, first time. I'm enjoying it. Being a giant like Daktari here. Let's see how the land goes. Fresher today.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're the fresher here today. Yeah, Daktari, you know, back in the day, there used to be this toxic culture where freshers were harassed, you know.
Yeah.
But here I'm told you are a gentle resident.
Yes. We will first of all tell him just to be calm, because he's an expert.
Yes.
So an expert do not have to struggle. When a question is asked with intelligent persons like you, he will respond. But just allow me to make some small introduction in town, because we talk about the state of the nation, you talk about things which could go wrong out there, but there's a lot of things which is happening this weekend. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow there is something very big happening at the Green Park.
Green Park?
Yes, which actually Paul needs to attend. There's an organization we call Bottom Line Unique Association.
Yes.
They are launching a nationwide ways to create jobs and opportunities for young people.
Okay.
At the bottom of the spectrum. Not bottom up, but the bottom spectrum of the organization. So it's got a big, it's a partner of Linda Jamii, where I'm the president of Linda Jamii.
All right.
We are working together to find a way on which we don't have to look always for problems, but actually Kenyans are coming together to start looking for solutions. Okay. Then the Saturday after that, Linda Jamii is doing the Peace Run, which is about trying to run for peace. Okay. So that all the problems we have, we shall close the year again with a bang, saying that Kenya is in peace. Beautiful. And I invite all Kenyans to attend the launch tomorrow at the Green Park for Bottom Line Unique Association.
All right.
At the same time, the Peace Run. And I'm also inviting Paul and yourself to come and join this initiative.
Doctor, you know you're a very smart man. Yes. We've just started this section with a very well-articulated advert for this weekend. I think we should bill you. Commercial, I hope you're seeing this.
No, the bills, we don't fear bills.
Yeah. Yes. But even as we do so, let me start with our rookie today. I hope it's not a bad time, because you're an academic guy in academia. Top story at the Standard and even at the Nation newspaper, the issue of KCPE. I think it's very, very critical that we bring this to light. And the big question has been, even as we do so, what went wrong? Is it that we always expect, the worst to happen? And that's the top story here that we are seeing on matters KCPE, the hard questions, and even the hard questions are being done right there by the hard Zoom, which I'm an expert of. But we see there the issue about Education Cabinet Secretary answering questions in regards to the recently released KCPE results is becoming quite a concern And there are a lot of issues that were brought up. The first thing was the issue of printing, which is where were the exams printed? Remember the Azimio leader, Raila Odinga, made a statement and said that the biggest concern has been actually the tender wars in between in regards to printing these papers. And the question is, what exactly is happening in that regard? And also the anomalies in regards to people getting results that in papers they didn't sit for. I mean, how does this happen? Has this happened before? It's also becoming quite a concern. So with that said, I want to bring in Paul. Paul, yes. You've done a lot of exams in your life, yeah? I'm meant to assume, yeah? Did you do KCPE or you came before KCPE?
I did KCPE.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was the 10th cohort.
Okay.
Yes, from 1989 to 1999.
All right.
In a school called Gatumaini Primary School in Thika.
In Thika?
Yes.
Thika.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting.
Where I actually serve in the board.
Oh, where you serve now in the board?
Yes.
You remember that story that was making rounds? There's a certain lady who's in like 10 different boards. 10 jobs. Quite interesting. Now, Paul, I'm not saying that there is a lot of similarity.
Yeah.
That you're on the right trajectory.
Unless I'm in 2 booths so far.
So far.
Yes.
Yeah, but this issue about KCPE, because this is the last one.
Yeah.
The assumption was there was an element of finality to it. Also, there was an element of a new cabinet secretary proving himself. You use such moments as a way to sort of stamp authority in matters leadership. I have this in control. Do you think the way KCPE was handled could have been handled better?
Well, definitely could have been handled better, because we usually say the best room in life is the room of improvement. And no matter how best you are, there's always room to improve. So definitely, they had an opportunity to improve because of the issues which have been raised by the public and also the parents. But also look at it from a perspective of, that is just the first exam. There's so many exams you will do in life. And once you feel like you're being judged unfairly, you need to step up and decide and say, you know what, that's not the end of the world. We have another exam we can put. I usually use an example of Eliud Kipchoge. Eliud Kipchoge knows he's a champion. Even if he does not perform at the marathon as he's used to, the news goes back to him. Why didn't you perform? Maybe it was the ear had a problem or something. So I think the students have an opportunity. It's already spilled milk, and they have an opportunity to say, you know what? I can recalibrate myself, and in high school, I can make changes. Because ideally, I don't think people really judge you strongly based on your KCPE results. It's just opportunity is really there, and you have opportunity. No matter where you go, you may not have a brand new end, or rather beginning, but you can have a brand new end. So it's an opportunity for them to make a difference. So stop complaining and shouting about that, and say, you know what? I have a chance to make better results in the coming exam.
Okay. So Paul, I'm glad you're taking that inspirational side of things.
Yeah.
But technically speaking, Dr. Gola, exams are sensitive. They are sort of make or break situation for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Reason why we get a spot in campus, and that opportunity sort of offer a platform to transform our lives for a lot of people. So if we see some sort of anomaly regards to how it's handled, it raises a lot of questions. Mashogu, and the way you are assessing his leadership style, the way he's handled KCPE. Now they have called for an audit. First of all, is this the right move? Take a back step when there are complaints? And secondly, these errors, has it happened before?
Yeah, first of all, I think, like I told you, we should not look at it like targeting Machogu or targeting the Kenya Kwanza government or the president. We should look at it like education system defines a nation. Nelson Mandela says that education is the best equalizer, because whether you are the son of a king, or you are the son of a pauper, or you are the son of a hustler, a son of a boda, you sit one exam and equalizes you. That's why even buses were branded all yellow. And sometimes even school uniforms were introduced so that when you go to school, you cannot put on a golden suit. You just put on a uniform, a school uniform that equalizes all of you. That also means that education system is such an important thing. And the same thing goes that at this day and age, you don't have to destroy a nation with a bomb. You just destroy a nation with the education system. For example, if you have unqualified doctors, you have unqualified lawyers, you have unqualified professionals, you will kill a nation, because if a doctor cannot do the right of procedure, the right operation, it's a serious issue. It's not even government. This is even about parents. Parents are even helping their children to steal examination. I remember that someone came out with a scoring of head teachers, where there's head teacher A, B, C, and D. The head teacher A is the one that gets the examination materials, he gets the question papers, he gets the marking scheme, even a few months before the exam. So the work is to revise just the marking scheme. And then they say the B is the one who gets all materials except the marking scheme. And they say C is the one who only gets the materials but not the exam and not even the marking scheme. And then D is the one who might actually get this almost poor materials and the rest. So they say headmaster A is always taken from one school to the other, and when they move to that school, results change overnight. So you see all this scheme between teachers, parents, education system, ministers, and the rest. All this is a scheme that needs to change. So there should be a serious systemic transformation of the education system in Kenya.
Okay.
But after talking about the issue of KCPE, I also did KCPE. And if
which
you want,
class? Which year?
I did KCPE in 1995. Because I went to high school in 1996.
Okay.
I finished high school in 1999. I don't know which year was it, but it was Paul's. So what I'm trying to say here is, I remember when Paul is saying that this is just a small thing. No, it's not. Because I remember the anxiety with going to receive KCPE results. I was in church in Jera, Catholic church, and then they announced the results are ready. You can pass by the school to pick them. I didn't pass there. I went home. I was so anxious, and I was so scared to go and pick the results. And I remember that is always happening on 26th of December.
Yes.
After Christmas, after Ushakula hiyo chapo ya Christmas, then they show results. Now, why am I drawing to that date?
Yes.
It was not urgent to release poor results when they were not ready. And according to me, what Machogu was trying to score was trying to compare himself with Matiang'i and Magoha. Did he check what system they had in place to release results? The right time, accurate, timely, isn't it? Effectively and efficiently. Okay. You know, you cannot compare yourself with somebody else. Play your game. Cheza kama wewe. If you could not play like them, there was no need of trying to play like somebody else whom you don't know. Remember, he was a new minister. How long did it take the likes of Magoha, did it take the likes of Matiang'i to release this? In fact, some kids tell you, me, I'm a Matiang'i child, because the first time Matiang'i released results, people really felt. Some people expected A's actually got, I don't know, C or something. Yes. So what I'm trying to say here is that there was no need to hurry to release results just to score the time. Yeah. But accuracy was more important than time. Definitely. There must be something that are more critical to this than the other. And then, of course, the issue of the dossier coming from Raila Odinga and the rest, and then Machogu not being able to answer these questions. I'm not saying I'm siding Raila Odinga, but also what I'm trying to say is that the system of setting exams should stop targeting people. Because at Linda Jamii, we don't believe in targeting individuals. Because institutional failure in Kenya is something worrying me. And we need to focus on institutional failure, systemic failures. Then we don't target individuals and communities and the rest. Like even sometimes people politicize by saying, last time when Machogu results, they say, well, how comes in Kisii, students have performed so well and surprisingly? You know, those things should never be part of exam. We should just focus on processes, systems, structures, and leadership.
Definitely. We're joined by a new panelist. looking sharp. Esam, how are you doing?
Well,
Oh, where were you in 1996? Were you also doing your KCPE?
first, my apologies for doing late. Myself, I'm a Matiangi one. And we're proud, as he mentioned. We believe that the first time the exams were, incredibly, no leakages. There were there were a lot of efficiency.
Okay.
The first time it came out, with the correct time.
Just briefly, I'm gonna bring you up shortly. The Matiangi one, Matiangi one, characters. Yes.
I think for me, two things.
Yes.
The issue is not even about probably well, he has spoken about the structure bit, but I think one of the things in this particular nation is about character. And it's about integrity. We're raising for a generation whereby people reap where they have not sown. Students will know, as long as my parents is rich enough, they can buy exams, they can buy your way out. And it's something that has been embedded in the system, not only at the primary, but secondary, even at the university, And that's why at the end of it, we come up with a very substandard product as a student to the nation. So I think where we need to go is no more of taking at the root. Why is it that people have been able to push so much of success, and what are these metrics that we really put and say, for you to be successful, you need to get an A. And that's the issue the previous minister was able to address. You don't have to get an A. You don't have to be, you can be a balanced student, you can be an average student who can perform really, really better as going forward. You can perform what you're able to do. And all of us in their own spaces, they can deliver value. So you don't have to be the A student to succeed in life. So I think the aspect about character has been relegated. How do you build up character and integrity in our students through the character? I remember one of the things we were able to understand, maybe during the Moi era, which I really grew up in, was basically the particular values which were embedded in us. Like I remember as a scout in primary school, the particular values of honesty, integrity. So such things are no longer considered of value nowadays, But now if you really integrate on that and say we want to build values and across the board with the parents, how do you build that particular child? A story is said about J.F. Kennedy. The reason why the challenges he went through, probably as at a leadership level, was during primary school, they actually gave him a leak for exams. So he went through that knowing I can get away with life until I go to the highest level of leadership. And that affected our generation. So for us to shape the next government, the next Machogus, the next Matiangis, the next government leaders, they usually say the philosophy of a class in a particular generation will be the philosophy of the next generation.
Okay.
So that's something we do. So first of all, let's check about integrity and the character of the students and the community. And then third, and not only checking it, but also celebrating success. So when I sit on the board, we shall tell people, you know what, we are awarding the A students, but hang on, what about the best students? What about the leadership students? Because these are the students who will shape the society. The students will be able to make a latest impact. And some of them, because of our education system, have been able to evaluate people. The way of evaluating, like for instance, I got 410 during our time.
Out of? It's important we know out of.
Out of 700.
Okay.
And when I say out of what, I'm like, wow, how did you make it? Right now, I've been able to go through my undergrad. I went through my undergrad at Kenyatta University. I went through my master's, organizational leadership, international leadership university. And I went through my PhD at Jomo Kenyatta University. So some people wonder, how did you make it into PhD level? But the way you've been trained, an aspect about character and believing in yourself gives you that edge to make an impact and contribution to society.
Okay.
So society should not just be about the A's. Okay. And that's the challenges you're having now. We don't have only probably people with degrees. Now we want people with TVET, diplomas.
Yes. Yeah, technical skills are very critical.
How do you go about it? But now the component that is lacking is the integrity part. We need to have an integrity test. At the primary level, I think probably if we were to work on the CBC, how do we have integrity included in it? That's game changer.
Okay. Prof here released a book on matters Solomonic economics, and he has it. In fact, he's given it to Paul. But Prof, this question of integrity, I know it's been raised. We have to sort of have a system that, as much as education is the great equalizer, let's make it fair and not give people sort of advantages. And that has always been the tones within the Kenyan education system. These schools have been getting the papers before time, you know. Then during the day they are just confirming the D-Day. But how do we instill that aspect of integrity in our system so that we can have confidence even in the results that we get from such exercises as national exams?
Thank you very much. Solomonic economic model has a chapter on that. Actually, it talks about, first of all, talking about wisdom of fools, that you cannot cheat a society. You look at that day when members of parliament were fighting over CDF issue, isn't it? Do you think kids were not watching? Do you know that some of them are parents at home? So if you go to parliament and fight over CDF money and become chaotic, Senate was there the other time in chaos because of the Senate Oversight Fund. So whatever you see in society, everyone comes from a family. So Solomonic economic model believes on the household. So start from home. What are the characters that your kids get? Let me just confess here, Noah, that I learned in a harsh way. During the run-up to the 2022 elections, I used to go on television and make very serious statements like, so-and-so cannot be president. Then after the election, my son, who is 6 years old, you saw him, he asked me, Daddy, so who is the president? So, you know, I understood he was following my conversation and say William Ruto cannot be president. President can only be Raila Odinga. So he asked me, Daddy, so who is the president? So I had to tell him, my son, let me confess that what I say does not determine the presidency. It is determined by the Kenyan people. It's determined through an electoral process. He went through the judiciary and is elected, is sworn in office. He is your head of state. So from now, William Ruto, contrary to your father's views, is the head of state. So I'm saying, as you teach your children, whatever you speak in public, whatever you say to people, you must remember that you might be thinking that you are hitting at an opponent, but you are educating your children things which should not be understood. When you come and say, please, let us be polite, yet me on television, I cannot show courtesy, I cannot show politeness. So it starts from home. You, your wife, your children. How do you live? We raise fingers saying, Kenya is corrupt, but Kenya is corrupt from home. Because everyone you see stealing money, they are from a family. They are from a household. They are the father, they are the son. Before we raise fingers to head of state, raise fingers to different people, Machogo and the rest, at home, are you the one leading by example? Are there some things you do where my dad seems to be corrupt? You are in traffic with your son. You are eating samosa. You throw paper by the window. Then we are talking about environment. I'm trying to say, in the little things that you do, I remember there's a time a policeman stopped me and he was asking me for a bribe. And my son was there, my wife was there. I told him, take me to a police station. Because it was impossible to give anything when my son is watching and my wife is watching. Because see, once you do that, that person forever will know my daddy gives. You understand? So there's no way. He also, if he gets a chance, he wants to take because his dad gives. So what are we teaching people right from home? And for us in school, in primary school, there used to be very simple ways to teach people how to share. We used to carry githeri. Then you'll be told, now it's time for eating. You guys sit over there and eat. No going to eat behind the doors or behind the buildings. So you sit there, we learn to share. So it's easier for me to share because people say, oh, well, you have githeri. Me, I have tea. Me, I have porridge. I'm trying to say these things should be taught from very young age because they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Well, I'm wondering, Prof, when you said I couldn't give, does it mean if you are alone you could have given?
I've just said I'm focusing on the fact that I'm focusing on the fact that I do not want to portray bad example
Exactly.
to my children. But whether I could give, story for another day.
Gentlemen.
And I don't want to lie again on live television by saying
Your son is
I've
watching
never
now.
given.
Your son is watching. He'll ask you that, but you said on Morning Pride. We want to take a short break, but I know you represent a demographic that initially there was a survey done quickly, and a lot of young people are like, I mean, we don't mind if we get an opportunity to get something for ourselves. We don't mind taking advantage of that. Do you think some of these integrity issues can be changed, especially in our youth, because we are the current and the next leadership in this country?
Yeah, sure. Education being a system in our country, it's not about a government A or a government B. I mean, we found the education system, which has been domiciled since, I think, the 1989 for 844 system, and it is now changing. I believe that we need strong institution, and the structure has to be strong, such that when a government A comes into play, it doesn't change anything, because education as an institution has to have that public trust. Now, when we see the errors in the KCPE, which were released some weeks ago, it erodes the public trust. And as my good friend here mentioned, like in Kisii, we see, students passing, pupils passing in Kisii more than other areas in the country. Yet the CS comes from the Kisii land. It gives a lot of questions, which we don't wanna, see them right now, because we believe in a strong institution in the education system. But education starts way back from the ground, from from a child being born, and the environment which has been raised in, such that integrity issue doesn't come in when a student gets to school. It starts way back in as a child. I remember, I come from a village, and the environment which I grew up in, it is more of the people and the things you watch around, the traditional leaders, the religion which you take your children to, has a lot of indoctrinations. Say that if it's a Christian, background, you remember that, a child is taught on integrity and the basics of the Bible. Being a lot of characters in the Bible with integrity. And when you get to the traditional leaders, you remember that some parts, culture things plays around. So I believe that integrity, and it's a part of the indoctrinations which are given to children. It has a lot to do with the background and the environment which children come from.
Okay,
yeah, sure.
definitely.
That's
very important.
Just let me know how to
in a few seconds.
Yes. The word integrity, people normally just think it's not taking corruption or something. Integrity has to do with everything fitting together, like parents, teachers, society, human person, family, your religion, constitution. It is all inclusive. Everything needs to work together. So we have to look at it. What are all the areas we need to touch so that we can have integrity? Because, for example, you're telling me that I'm stopped by a policeman. He's telling me I'm going to work, I'm late. He's telling me some things I can't understand. If I don't give in to his pressure, which I call extortion, because there are some things I'll not bribe, some are called extortion. He's stopping you from doing what I'm doing. If I follow law, I'll end up nowhere. So there's no way you can get anything done. Then people pay money. Yeah, and that's if there's no integrity in the whole system,
yes,
you as an individual, you cannot have integrity, because you thought it's happening that you are just going to live in utopia. Yes.
So,
and I think for me, what I usually say, I can define integrity as basically being the same person in public and in private, in a way that even if the police or my children weren't there, I wouldn't still bribe to you, because this is an internal conviction and a value that I have, and that's what we need to do. We usually tell students, when I lecture the students at the university, I tell them, you know what, if I was to walk away and leave the marking scheme, would you take it? If they'll take it, children, you don't have integrity, because I tell them, what are the values that you're developing?
Yes.
Will it cost you? Because if it will cost me, I would rather lose my day, but I will not pay this bribe. The next day, the policeman will find me and say, you know what, this person, there's something they value. I'm ready to lose my job. I'm ready to be inconvenienced to stand with the conviction that I believe in. And that's what we're lacking in this country.
All right.
Can I stand on that? And that's maybe an addition we can add to Prof. About integrity.
Definitely. We're going to go deeper into that. Paul, you're saying, when you lecture students and asking them whether you can leave the marking scheme there. There's something called formation.
I think Paul lives somewhere.
I know. We're going to come into that. In regards to this issue of integrity, and we still have a lot of stories to tackle here. Of course, what is happening with the CBK governor and some of the mitigations to stop the shilling slide. We'll take a look at that. And also this issue of COP28 and where Africa sits in this conversation will also be part of the stories that we'll be tackling. Other than the issue of housing already, housing levy, trying to find a structure. What does it mean for the country? For now, we take a short break right here on Morning Prime. Stay tuned because we still have more for you. Gentlemen, I think we should have some tea, a little bit of it, so that